Well, today we are going to review the Veikk, and I think that's pronounced correctly, Veikk 1200 graphics tablet. And this is the box it comes in. It's really, for the price, it's a great tablet. And I'm going to go over and I'm going to actually show a little bit of using it. And the tablet is $149 now. And for only $10 more, $159, you can get this nice stand to go with it. I highly recommend the stand. There's also a V2 version that's out. The difference with the V2 version, it's $10 more, but it will actually use just a USB-C cable, and you can even use them with your smartphones. This version, the VK 1200, you cannot, and it takes two cables. It takes an HDMI cable and a USB cable to plug in for the power. So that's the difference. So let's pull this out here. Get rid of that. Comes with a glove. If you don't know what this is, and I'm going to show it here how to use it. This goes onto your hand, and like this, or if you're a lefty, onto this side, and it just keeps your hand glide easily over the graphics tablet. So it's a drawing glove, and of course a nice cloth to clean it. And this is a tablet, and what I wanted to point out on this real quick before we go into all the specifications, that it has 6 function keys that you can configure. It also, when this is unbelievable, it comes with not one but 2 pens. Don't know why, but they include 2 pens with a nice little case, and each pen comes in a separate case. These pens do not require a battery like the Wacom's, and you get an extra 28 nibs, and they also got a little stand here which has extra nibs in it. If I can get the help me, Fred. There. And this is just a little pen stand that you could put your pen in, and it weights it down, keeps it. So, some of the specifications real quick before I get into a demo of the unit. It has sRGB color gamut, which is 92% of the NTSC standard. The V2 has a little bit lower color gamut, at only 72% of the NTSC standard, and it's probably because it's using the USB-C instead of HDMI.
Mm-hmm.
So this is 16.7 million colors, 1920 by 1080 resolution, which is full HD. Nice thing about this is you can use this if you don't want to use it as a graphics tablet, especially with a laptop. You can use it as a second monitor. So, and it's really good. Now, one of the things I point out when I'm doing the little demo, that I said that the colors didn't quite match, they weren't quite as saturated.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I hadn't gone in and into the driver program and adjusted it. Once I went in there, it matched exactly. So yes, it would make a great second color monitor for a laptop or even a desktop. I mean, it's 11.9 inches, I believe, or 11.6 inches, 11.5 inches. So it's almost like a 12-inch laptop as it stands. The pens themselves have, and I had misspoke on this too. I said I think it had 1,200. No, it's 8,192 levels of pressure sensitivity, and up to 60 degrees of tilt that it will take. And you can adjust that in the, get this in here, in the configuration program that comes with it. Now, one thing I want to mention, and Fred and I were just talking about this, that in order for this to work, and I had some issues with it, I couldn't get everything to work right. If you have a previous tablet in there, if you'd had a Wacom tablet, for example, you have to remove that driver first. And what I would recommend is removing that driver, reboot your machine, then install the Veikk driver in order to get it to work properly. And I'm assuming that's also if you have a different, other than the Wacom tablet, I would remove that first. So if you want to go back and use that, of course, then you have to remove this one and.
Right. I understand there's a paint program that comes with it. Did you try that out? Or?
Yeah, no, there's a free program you can get and download called Metaband. I'm not familiar with it. I really don't do much with the paint programs, but of course this works with Photoshop and Blender, as we had mentioned earlier. You know, all the major drawing art programs, photography programs. The pen itself has 2 function keys on it, which are configurable. I think out of the box it comes out, the top was a right, equivalent to a right mouse button, and I forget what the bottom one is, but you can configure those yourselves. 28 extra nibs, so you're not going to run out. 2 pens and 28 nibs, you're not going to run out of either one. And again, this pens don't use batteries like the Wacom. I know some of the other tablets you have to, and some of the pens that come with laptops, you have to use a little, what is it, quadruple D or A battery, I mean, little tiny, but not this one. So, unless you have any questions or anything, observations, why don't we go in?
Go right in and show everybody how it works.
Show how the thing works and how it functions. All right, I'm going to do a little demo of the Veikk, and this is a drawing tablet, which you might be familiar with drawing tablets, but this one is very, very, very reasonably priced, and the nice thing about it is it's got video built into it. It comes complete with 2 pencils, plenty of nibs for the pencils, and all the cables that you need to plug in. It does require 2 cables. You have to have a USB to plug into the for the power for the Veikk, and then an HDMI for the picture output. Now, the one thing I will mention, though, that even though this is a graphics tablet, by the way, you could also use this as secondary monitor because it is a full HD resolution. And I did notice that on my laptop that the colors are not quite as saturated, but they do seem to be true. But then again, I'm not using it to color adjust. I'm using it as a drawing tablet. The nice thing about the tablets with the image based here is that the fact that well, you can draw directly on your image, such as I have here in Photoshop. You see, and it also has pressure sensitivity. I think it's 1024 levels of pressure sensitivity. It's got a number of buttons here on the side that you can customize. I got these here and here for zooming in and zooming out on my image. And yeah, it is pretty slick. Now it's got a total of 6 buttons altogether. This is not a button here in the middle. And let me bring up a blank screen here. I could also do this in here if I wanted to. Put new. We'll just put default. Create. And so you can see that how the drawing here works. Let's just get a nice red here. All right, let's see here. Got to get the right pen. But as you can see, and also I should mention that you have to set this up in Photoshop in order to allow the pressure sensitivity. But yeah, it also seems to be quite accurate. I'm looking at where the little circle is, and as you can see there, it is quite accurate. Let's go to the, oops. There we go to the red, and I've got the opacity of that brush set down a bit, only to 12%. Let's set that up here, and there you get a better idea. So yeah, it works very, very well. And the nice thing, like I said, is the fact that you can draw directly on your picture. So unlike a standard graphics tablet that has no picture that you're drawing on the side, that Oh, this is much easier. And by the way, the glove that I'm wearing here, one of these comes with it. And this is so that when your hand brushes up, if you're really drawing and you're trying to be very, very, very calm here, this won't interfere with the sensitivity of mess up your surface of the tablet. Okay, well, I wasn't getting any pressure sensitivity in Photoshop, so I had to go back, and I'm going to save you some time too, because I had a Wacom tablet originally installed. Apparently, first thing you've got to do is you've got to uninstall any previous tablet drivers that you might have before you install the Veikk driver. So here we have the Veikk driver in here, and I'm going to go back in here in the pen, and as you can see, you can have some adjustments here that you can do. You can set your buttons here. Number 1 is set to pen erase, and number 2 is equivalent to a mouse right click, and you can of course change those if you wish. The mapping, one thing that's very important is to go through the start calibration here and do a complete calibration, which it will set the sensitivity of the accuracy of the pen. And the key here, in order to get the sensitivity, is to enable the brush ink function. Make sure that that is checked, because if it's unchecked, it doesn't do the sensitivity. And of course, this is the button for the start calibration. You can also change if you want to rotate your monitor, have the display rotated, and there's some other functions which I'm not going to go over, but let's go ahead and bring Photoshop back up here, and let me show you that now that we have, and I misspoke earlier, I said it was 1200. It's over 8,000 levels of pressure sensitivity. So here we go. If we can draw in here, and you see, and if I push harder, of course, it makes a more broader stroke. And you got to make sure that your particular pen or the brush that you're using is capable. And in Photoshop, in order to do this, you want to go over to your brush settings, make sure that the shape dynamics is turned on, and that's all there is to it. As you can see, that works very, very nicely. We go back to our original picture here, and now we've got sensitivity. We can, oops, that I have to do a right click. There we go. Which did I do there? Wrong one. Let's get rid of those. But yeah, if I want to draw on this, as you can see, and also you can of course set up here the opacity, the flow, the size of your brush. Turn that down a little bit. There's 15, and I push real hard, very lightly. But yes, this works very, very nicely. And of course, it doesn't work just in Photoshop. You can use this in any programs that will use a pen. I do a lot of 3D work, and this comes in very, very handy for making my 3D characters and doing the texturing and even some of the modeling work on it. So there you have it. That's the a quick overview of the Veikk 1200. Highly recommended. I'm very happy with it. And again, if you don't want to use it as a drawing tablet, you can always just use it as a secondary monitor, which also can come in very handy. In order to do that, what you would do is go into the display settings on your laptop or desktop, whichever you're using, and make sure that instead of an extended display, you put it as a secondary display.